Hello, beautiful souls. My name is Coleraine, or Coleraine Tarot, here on YouTube. My pronouns are they, them, and what we are going to get into today is a beautiful reading where we're going to look into your spiritual gifts. I've done a couple readings like this on this channel, but what's going to be different about this reading, if you have watched the previous readings, is that this is going to be a bit of a different look at your spiritual gifts, maybe more comprehensive look at how they manifest. I just feel like my gifts as a reader have changed since the last couple times I've done those readings. And so I just felt like it was really time, and I dreamt that I was making this video. So if that's not a synchronicity to follow, I don't know what is. So let's get into the reading. If you selected your pile, then you can move ahead. Otherwise, I'm going to introduce them. So pile 1 here is this smoky quartz crystal point. Pile 2 is this, I call it like an ocean jasper because it has those bubbles in it, but it's some type of jasper. I'm not quite sure, but it's like orange and blue. And then pile 3 is this bismuth cluster. So when you are ready, I will see you in your group. So hello, group 1. If you selected this smoky quartz crystal, this is your spiritual gifts reading. So we're going to go right in. It is raining and there is some thunder and lightning, which is really cool. I think this is the first storm we've had, at least where I am, since the summer. This is a timeless reading, but I just wanted to mention that we have that little bit of weather magic going on. So maybe for some of you, you work with the seasons or work with the weather in particular, or you may feel especially connected to a certain type of weather, or your gifts may be heightened when the weather is behaving in a certain way. So for example, I'm getting a lot of water energy with this group. It's okay if you don't have prominent water placements in your chart, but I'm just feeling like if you do have water, for example, you know, maybe working when it's raining, like how it's raining right now for me, or if maybe you have a lot of fire, working when it's really hot, if you have like fire and air together, if it's hot and windy at the same time, something like that. There's just this experience of working through the elemental bodies of the earth. So very interesting message already coming through for you, pile 1. I feel like there's a mixed bag of spirit guides for this group, since there are going to be, you know, multiple people tuning into this, but it does feel like overall your spirit guides are quite calm and collected, and I feel like your spirit guides, some of you may resonate with having like oceanic spirit guides, marine life spirit guides, connecting you to past lives, things like that. Is there anything else? There's something like smooth. There's like a smooth texture. I don't know why they keep showing me that, but maybe like petting a dolphin or something. That's the only thing I can like think of, which I guess is still like marine life. Maybe even like a frog skin. They just want to keep showing me like smooth skin. So maybe some of you need to like moisturize your body or something, or that's part of your spiritual practice, is like when your physical body is hydrated, that can help. I don't know, kind of random, but somebody's going to resonate with it, I'm sure. So, ooh, and I don't know if you hear that, there's some intense thunder going on, so this is going to be a cool reading. Anyway, let's get into your cards. So I want to start actually with this card from Tarot of a Moon Garden. I rarely use this deck, but I really was feeling like it's perfect for this reading today. And so this card is going to give me the archetype of you as a spirit, and we have the 6 of Swords. So I have a unique relationship with this card. The 6 of Air to me always relates to the element of water. So you may be an air sign but have an affinity for water, or maybe you have a lot of past lives where you were really connected to the water, but in this life you're trying to develop other elements in your chart. So I'm talking to people who maybe have an understanding of their astrological chart. If you don't, Maybe look into it, of course, but always with your free will. Don't feel like I'm telling you have to. But anyway, there's the first thing I'm drawn to is the dragonflies on the top of this. So there's something about your soul, or your spirit, however you want to call it, being kind of like they want me to use the word battalion, like you're a part of a they wanted me to say suffrage movement. So there's something here where your spirit doesn't back down to standing up for what's right, even if you have to stumble over a lot of blockages. Because they wanted, it was interesting, as I was trying to say that, it felt like I was gonna choke potentially. Very interesting experience there. And then after I said that, I feel like my belly just filled with fire, and there's a dragon on this card. So if you're not like consciously connected to dragons, just know that subconsciously you probably are as a spirit. It doesn't matter what culture you're from. You may have incarnated in many different places where dragons were a part of the culture. And as I'm saying that, there's a huge clap of thunder. So definitely connected to those dragon elementals. And dragons, in like my understanding, they're maybe not flesh and blood beings that we see. Maybe they are, but they are for sure these extreme spiritual forces of nature, and they bring about our primal connection to the earth. They bring about big waves of change. I do feel like they're connected to the weather as well, so maybe when the weather changes near you, it may be dragons trying to get your attention about certain things, or about experiences of the collective. Because I feel like for a lot of you, what I was going to say with this card, my personal relationship to it, since it is an air card that is connected to the water, there is typically a river in this card, and people are crossing it. And so to me, that represents the river of Styx. And when you cross that river, it's the river of forgetfulness, or the river of memory. And so there's something here about each time you've passed over into a new life. Because I do feel like for many of you, you've lived quite a few human or conscious incarnations where you're much farther out of the subconscious. For example, like living an animal lifetime, you're very deep in the subconscious. But anyway, there's an understanding here between your subconscious and your conscious mind about what your spirit wants to experience. So whether you're consciously practicing your spiritual gifts or not, you're still practicing them, is what your spiritual self wants to come through and tell you in this reading. Especially with the moon there too, and the moon cycle. So some of you may work with the moon, and again, that river thing, just being connected to water. And for me, the Six of Air, or the Six of Swords, talks about our ability to forgive, to move past illusions. Again, with those dragonflies here, the dragonflies do signify, for me at least, like the third eye and the crown chakra awakening, having that spiritual awareness, and also remembrance. So for a lot of you, I'm also getting the sense that you do dream work really easily, astral project. That can be, that traveling across the other side, or you are a type of spirit medium. So let's get deeper into, that's a very interesting archetype to have, especially with that dragon so prominent. So even looking up the symbolism of a dragon, or even draconic lore, if that's what I want to say. Yeah. So just looking into the symbolism of a dragon, because dragons, they have a very strong exterior, but like every reptile, they are extremely sensitive to their environment, and deeply almost like energetically enmeshed in their environment. So there's something about wherever you go, you become a force of that place, that time, that space, that collective energy. And so whatever your conscious decision making teaches you about making those choices about how to engage with those collective energies, if that makes sense. So let's go deeper. I got these Beyond Lemuria cards, and these are going to describe, holy cheese, some more thunder. Sorry. These are going to describe deeper soul lessons that you're wanting to learn through the exercise of your spiritual gifts in this lifetime. So it's interesting. Both of these cards depict someone who is in the water, and I happen to know what these cards are, and there's the dolphin. So these definitely didn't come out for, like, coincidence. Yeah, these may even be depictions of spirit guides that you have, and I feel like for some of you, you had a group of like three, either like 3 sisters, 3 cousins, 3 friends, something like that. For some of you, maybe like 3 brothers. I don't really care about like the binary depiction, because for some of you, it doesn't matter. Like at a soul level, it doesn't really change the dynamic. But both of these are green cards, so connecting with the heart. There's She of the Lotus, this one, and Life Force Energy, the other one. And I'm debating which one I want to read. Maybe I should just read both of them. I'm going to read She of the Lotus, and then maybe Life Force Energy if I feel called. So it says, if there is a way to fast track growth, it is by being real with the shadowy or unloved parts of ourselves. Shadows can be painful or tender to the touch. Sensitivity can be a trigger that shows us where we might want to spring clean some of our darker, forgotten, ignored, or hidden corners. Accepting our shadows is the first stage in restoring ourselves to wholeness in self-love. Peel back the layers where there is shame, guilt, or fear, and bring them into the daylight. Under a loving and compassionate light, they will resolve and reassimilate, reminding us that on the flip side of the coin, these are our superpowers. So for a lot of you, you have some past life complications or unresolved business that when you passed over from that lifetime, there were things that were unfinished for yourself as a spirit, and so using your spiritual gifts is actually going to help you face and address and integrate those soul-based lessons, and these relate to collective experiences. So while you may not be experiencing the exact same issue you were experiencing in that past lifetime, because of the societal differences of where you're living in your present, they're mimicking those experiences on an energetic frequency. And so it's interesting that this card was talking about forgetfulness, these things that we've put aside, that we've shamed ourselves for. And the 6 of Swords, I was talking about crossing over that river or that division of forgetfulness. And so there's something here about where your soul gifts are actually to remember, to reintegrate a lot of these information. And for some of you, if this is not past life experiences or past life complications, and you're not really resonating with that super deeply, those, but you're still resonating with the pile in general, those experiences of forgetfulness can be just remembrances of ancient civilizations on Earth, because for a lot of you, I feel that you are like Earth-based activists, and that's kind of what the dragon can represent as well, is that these like huge, powerful guardians of the earth and of the land. And so, yeah, I'm just getting like chills on my body as I'm saying this to you. And the again, that crown chakra and the third eye being emphasized in these cards as well. It's like green, purple, and like indigo are like the 3 colors of your pile. And then this smoky quartz too. Smoky quartz protects us from spiritual attacks, psychic drains, anything like that. So a lot of you do have deeply protective spiritual gifts, and you could actually offer protection for others as well. So if you notice somebody that maybe just needs that extra bit of help, guidance, safety, whatever, definitely send out a good vibration for them, a good prayer for them, however you see it, and you will be able to help bless them. So I do want to just skim this really quickly. It says, increase your awareness of how things come to be in your world and their energetic resonance. So some of you are learning manifestation and how to relate to your physical body, because I feel like for some of you that Six of Swords energy is the archetype of the spirit, is being more in spirit than you are in your physical body. So something that you may want to do in this lifetime is really learn how to prioritize your health as it relates to like a spiritual practice for you, or using your, like, caring for yourself and caring for your health as a spiritual practice. So let's get into further your tarot. And I'm just going to lay these out. These are describing your spiritual gifts deeper, because I feel like we went kind of towards the past lives. And I just want to see. So you got a lot of cards, actually. Hopefully you can see all of them. Let me make sure. Yep. Okay. You have the Knight of Songs, the Four of Skins, the Page of Dreams, the Seven of Songs, and the Magician. Again, the same color scheme is coming up. The greens, the purples, the blues. And even some pinks too, which is still related to the heart chakra. So the Knight and the Seven of Songs are both in the suit of water. The Magician is, the Magician. The Page of Dreams is air, and the Four of Skins is fire. Interesting. So again, dominance in water and air, and then a little bit of fire. And the Magician I consider personally to be ruled by Pluto, so kind of a transformative watery energy as well. I want to start here because I do feel like there's something again about manifestation. There's a reason why I had to bring that up before we moved into these. For a lot of you, and I don't mean manifestation as like just a very basic spiritual concept, that's kind of a buzzword in the spiritual community at this point, but I'm talking about manifestation on a deeper level, like the translation of something from energy into physical form. There's something where you're a really good, I want to say synthesizer. You're able to turn something from concept, from idea, or from a feeling even, into like have it made manifest. So for example, I wrote a book and I made a set of cards, and so for something to go from an impulse, from something I was passionate about, from something I had been studying, into a physical copy of something that was like a spiritual tool, that's an example of that manifestation. And I also feel like for a lot of you, this has to do with being able to manifest a community, or recognize where within a group of people you belong or you can contribute. Especially since there's these hands all around, and even this person is shown as an artist. So a lot of you are creators in some sense, or you're not afraid to embrace your creative gifts, which are a spiritual gift. Yeah. The Seven of Songs, here's another musician, and even here the Knight of Songs is someone who is using a conch shell as a musical instrument. For a lot of you, I'm feeling that this is calling other people to a cause as well. So you just have this magnetism that draws people to remembering and awakening to something deeper on their spirit. You may point out truths often, or you're somebody who shares your opinion quite boldly, and people really do listen to your opinion, even if it's something that they don't acknowledge. Maybe they just like your video or something, but it affects them deeper. Sorry, there's something here with the throat too. It's just like your voice really matters. The Seven of Songs too, I feel like a lot of you are kind of ahead of your time. You're kind of the forefront of certain movements, certain collective awakenings. You just carry that seed of progress within you. The Page of Dreams and the Four of Skins are showing me that within your spiritual gifts, again, astral travel and dream work is really important for you. And here it's even showing like a little eye over the heart, over the chest. So the heart is emphasized again. I feel like for some of you, a spiritual gift of yours is being able to transmute negative timelines with the frequency of love. So there may be certain experiences, again, with you, like kind of directing people away from certain energies or towards others. There's something about you having like prophetic sight where you're able to see, you know, if everyone keeps doing this one way, it's going to turn out really negatively for the collective. So why don't I start to be part of the change towards a better future? And so that's actually a spiritual gift for you, pile one. And then the Four of Skins too, I was going to start talking about it here, but I feel like I need to talk about it here and even here. There's something deeply loving and compassionate about this group, that no matter how much you see or experience negativity or shadows within yourself and others, there's something here where you want to seek out the joy or the heart of a situation. You want to find the ability to connect with unconditional love within every situation. And so you're somebody who brings a loving message to others in their time of hardship and actually allows them to transform. And She of the Lotus is talking about going from the mud, from the dirt, from the difficulty, and arising into something really beautiful and transformational. So definitely your group are like the alchemist type archetype with this magician here. You just embody the archetype of the magician, the one who's kind of ahead of the curve. You have the prophetic gifts in a way, and you also have that astral consciousness. So yeah, some of you may even do certain type of like Akashic record or intuitive reading. I'm not really feeling like this group is so much into tarot or reading cards for others. You might read more for yourself or practice divination more for yourself, but I'm feeling like any divinatory acts are more on the level of like intuitive guidance. And even for some of you, this is going to be like physical healing. Like doing something more like Reiki or even like an actual like medical profession. So let me give you your final cards and then we will close out this reading. So you got a lot of cards. Your guides have a lot to say to you today, I guess. But here are your 3 Sacred Geometry Activations Oracle cards. You have 44 Universal Love, 39 Romantic Love, and 2 Sacral Chakra. So again, emphasizing love. The 4 of Skins, I actually meant to say that some of you may do love magic or romance magic, and you may be quite gifted at that. And not to manipulate another person. Please don't get me wrong on that. But I mean like the high vibrational love magic. Like you might be somebody that anoints yourself with loving intentions, or you just fill your aura with a lot of loving energy so that when you are around others, even if you are, you know, giving this call to action or helping people to understand the other side of consciousness, the unconscious, there's an energy of love that allows you to be guided through these darker energies or these more unconscious or these more shadowy energies, these more unpredictable energies, so that you can remain centered. It says the frequency of universal love activates the connection we feel to each other, to our planet, and to the whole of existence itself. Romantic love says the frequency of romantic love supports our journey to feel whole and complete through the experience with and reflection of a conscious lover. I feel like for a lot of you, your spiritual or psychic gifts are actually enhanced when you are around and in constant contact with others. While some people kind of embody the energy of a sage or a solo practice, or even ride the line between you know, needing both, you're the type of person that I feel needs to be in contact with others quite often, or you're a communicator in essence. That's really your spiritual gift, is communication, even with spirits as well. And so especially with that 6 of air being your kind of archetype. The sacral chakra is also our water chakra. So again, that water emphasis coming up again. But the sacral is it says, supports our ability to flow with our desires and stimulates creative power to manifest success and abundance in our lives. So again, manifestation. A lot of you are meant to be really successful, very creative, and working with the sacral chakra is actually going to activate your spiritual gifts much, much more. Because I feel like since the other chakras, the higher chakras, heart and above, were emphasized in the beginning half of the reading, it feels to me that dropping down into your sacral is actually going to be a really fulfilling experience, because it's going to remind you of the potentials of a healthy community, of healthy relationships, and of healthy creative channeling. Because I feel like for some of you, you get blocked creatively when you try and get too intellectual. You're not the type that's like the researcher. And researching doesn't really help your spiritual gifts. It's more based on like observational and experiential research, quote unquote. These things of like, you may have been the kid that was really highly social or really just curious about social engagements. And so it's really important for you to understand love by making those connections and prioritizing having the full experience of them, because it does activate your spiritual gifts. So it was such an honor to read for you. I want to thank your guides, my guides, every other force in the universe that brought us together for this reading today. If you are interested in having a personal reading, you can check out my information in the description box below. Otherwise, I will see you in another reading, my friend. Sending you so much love. Bye. Hello, group 2. If you selected this jasper type rock, then this is your spiritual gifts reading. So I've pre-shuffled off camera just before I started your reading. I'm going to be moving the microphone a little bit, so hopefully that didn't disrupt anything. It's interesting because I just noticed as I was doing that the Fool card had fallen from one of the decks next to the microphone and was not meant to be out, but was sitting there. So I feel like that's a message for your group. And one of the dogs at my house was just barking. And there's a dog typically on the Fool card, and there's something about being devoted to a cause and, you know, kind of having that innocence. Dogs do represent like bonding and loyalty and following a call, obedience, things like that. Maybe look into the symbolism of a dog, or maybe there is a dog spirit guide that's trying to work with you, or a deity that's attached to dogs. I almost said to gods. So there's something here where they may be like a kind of fringe deity, is something that I'm wanting to say. Like they may not be someone that you consider to be a deity, but they have connections to deified energy. So interesting. Your group feels extremely introverted, and your guides even feel that way. Your guides feel like they manifest as portions of you, so you may not even recognize them as spiritual guidance, but recognizing that they are manifestations of your higher dimensional spirit consciousness. A lot of you are deeply intuitive and just spiritual in your day-to-day life. I'm just picking up on a lot of like Pisces, kind of mutable energy, honestly. So not just Pisces, but like Gemini and even Virgo and Sagittarius as well, if you are looking for an astrological confirmation. Yeah, I'm just feeling that mutable energy, because I feel like a lot of mutable signs, or people that I know that have mutable energy, as outgoing as they end up being in their life, there's always this deep and profound introversion that marks a lot of their experience. I'm just feeling like very interesting in my body right now, group 2, and I haven't even looked at your cards yet, but there's something here about almost like your guides wanting me to like slow down. because I have the type of like spirit energy where I can move really, really quickly or really, really slowly, because time isn't a construct that I'm really familiar with. So maybe they're drawing me to that to show me how kind of you experience time, or help you to awaken to that aspect of yourself. Interesting. So this card here from the Tarot of a Moon Garden is going to characterize your almost like the archetype of your spirit and where these spiritual gifts come from. And we have the Wheel of Fortune. Interesting. There's like a couple Hebrew letters on here, because I'm seeing Vav, I'm seeing He. I guess those are just English letters in between the A, the R, and the O. There's Aquarius on there, and some symbol that I don't recognize, and then even a musical symbol over here that we can't fully see. This is a carousel. The first animal that stood out to me was a snake. And yeah, there's the bull. It looks like a dog and a lion. So, and then there's a beetle down here and the Sphinx on the top. So some of you may have past life connections to ancient Egypt, or like the Jewish diaspora, because just there's symbolism that connects us to that time and space. Like, you know, the Jews were in Egypt for a while, albeit under slavery, which is unfortunate, but there's so many lessons that our human collective learned and anchored in at that time, in terms of our connection to the cosmos, our connection to deity, our connection to nature spirits, and our connection to power and control and corruption, and even like familial, deep things like familial relationships and things like that. So there's a lot of energy coming from that time period for your group in terms of the spirit. So maybe you've always been drawn to ancient Egypt, or it might be important for you to either look into Egyptian mythology. You could even look into Cometian mythology. That's just another decolonized term for Egypt, as well as even just looking into like pictures of the ancient ruins, as well as the Hebrew language seems to be important with those letters showing up, but just looking into Judaism at large in general. And I know that there's a lot of, like, at the time I'm filming this, there's a lot of like unrest around Judaism, and what that religion means. So maybe it's important for you at a soul level, like maybe you're part of the collective that's learning about what are the origins of Judaism, what is the belief system, what is the spiritual roots of that group, because it starts actually, well, not completely, but a lot of the origins of Judaism are rooted in Egypt, and resisting the oppression of the occupying forces. So just gonna leave that there. But your soul, at a deeper level, your spirit, is one that incarnates in many different places where I feel that there is some kind of dynamic between oppressor and oppressed, victim and abuser, and you're here to kind of break out of that pattern. It's almost like also like the self and the other is something that you're trying to reconcile with. The Wheel of Fortune shows our fate, our destiny, and it brings us to the evolution of our own soul, the evolution of our collective, the evolution of our understanding of our consciousness as well, and those inevitable movements forward. Interesting. So let's dive deeper into the rest of your cards. We're going to look at more of the tarot. I'm feeling called to lay them like this. So you have two majors and one minor. You have the King of Songs, the Judgment card, and the Justice card. Judgment and justice feel connected, right? Because the justice may be like the court case, whereas the judgment is the judge, the final say. So there's something here about your spirit being part of, I want to say, like a legion of souls or a grouping of the collective that comes in almost as spiritual surveyors, is what they want me to say. And this feels almost like an Akashic record reading at this point rather than spiritual gifts, but it feels like your spiritual gifts lead into your Akashic. So there's something here about you being given the authority to pass judgment, and not in a negative way. It's not like you're a judgmental soul. It just may seem like you're the type of person who's kind of a critic. You know, you can see both the bad and the good together and see it very healthily, like balanced. But it feels like there's just something here where you're come to bring in, like, almost like a final, like you witness certain things in order for higher dimensional beings or higher levels of consciousness to come through and lay out the consequences. And that can be either, like, you know, merciful or passing down kind of like a punishment in a way onto someone. And it's not to say that you're the one deciding this. I don't want you to like get that ego trip, but it's more of like your soul is like the one who's like the reporter in a way. I'm having trouble describing it, but it's like you want to bring certain things to justice within this realm. Because there's a lot of animals on this card, mostly birds, but there's like a vulture and an eagle. So these are both birds that represent messengers for the higher realms. They represent the highest state of consciousness, the oneness, the universal I am, being able to experience all of creation and also tend to those darker aspects without being affected by them. Because the vulture here, vultures have a certain acidity in their stomach, or it's like a acid that actually makes them immune to biological diseases that would come from decomposing flesh. And so it's like a very sacred position to hold in the ecological pyramid, because they are almost serving the dead and the living by preventing dis-ease. Get it? Dis-ease. So there's something here where you're serving an extremely high spiritual purpose through your existence. And the King of Songs shows your internal world. So whereas maybe others see you as this judgment card, kind of a mysterious figure, and also maybe feel a lot of fear, and like that kind of like holy fear. It's not like people are scared of you, but it's more of like a respect kind of a fear. Because on the inside, you're this King of Songs. You're somebody who deeply and intimately understands spiritual laws, spiritual truths, as well as your own emotional well-being and truths that you've had to learn through many hardships. So a lot of this I'm feeling relating to your spiritual gifts has to do with finding a balance between right and wrong, and kind of moving beyond the polarity of making moral judgments. Whew, interesting. Kind of heavy energy, hard to interpret. So I want to actually pull the other cards because they're going to give me supplemental information. And you got like a lot of cards from the Beyond Lemuria Oracle. So I'm not going to read all the backs of them, but I at least want to show you them and tell you the names of the cards. So this card, don't judge it. It went through the wash one time, but it is the healing card. So I figured it would be kind of fitting to try and heal the card by taping it together. So I'm going to move into this card because I feel like I placed it down below for a reason. And so yeah, just giving you a little look at the imagery, and then I will read it. So this card has a red back and it says harmonic flight or harmonic flight. This powerful image represents the divine we see when we look deeply into the eyes of another and our armor drops when we meet another being. Present in the moment with no stories, judgments, or insecurities. When we harmonize our energies with another, we can soar to the sky. How synchronistic. We can guide each other higher and higher by encouraging all that has been weighing us down to drop away. The bonds you share give you the power to transmute fear. Put time and awareness into resolving karmic connections, or they will continue to play out. There may also be a life-changing connection on the horizon. So, for some of you, I'm getting the message that this reading is actually very timely for your spiritual journey. So, if you had maybe clicked on this reading at another time, you may have chosen a different pile. But in this reading, I feel like we're looking at a conditional spiritual gift that you have, because it's helping you to break out of a lot of cycles at this current moment in time by allowing you to connect with this part of yourself that I was talking about earlier related to the judgment and the justice card, because it says literally meeting another without judgments. So there's something here about you learning to see yourself in others and having others see themselves within you. And being able to change some of these bonds, some of these cords related to certain relationships or relationship patterns. You may be a really great relationship counselor. I feel like this is a spiritual gift that is not just, it's not like you only have access to it during a certain portion of your life. It's something that you're awakening at this certain portion of your life, but you get to carry it with you for a long time. This card, let me see what the backs of these are. So this is Manifestia. This is the healing card, as we know. This is Trust Your Inner Sense. It's interesting, these two kind of mirror each other. And then this is the third eye chakra, Pineal Perspective. So I kind of want to read this one too, actually. Connect with your third eye and transcend what you understand with your mind. Discover a deeper inner knowing through the interconnected web of all this is and has been. You can tune into the wisdom, or this wisdom at will, as and when you wish to. This wisdom is ancient yet pioneering. It is the creator of the free will we choose to weave from moment to moment. Be the observant witness. Allow the transcendence of duality without judgment. Be mindful, again, without judgment. Interesting. Be mindful, listen, and allow your unfurling intuition to unravel the paradoxes of reality. So, I'm going to put that back upright. A lot of you are really good healers simply by your acknowledgement of something. So, it's almost like when you call something out, it instantly transforms it, either within yourself or within others. And it also seems like the spiritual gifts of this group have to do with how you affect other people. And I'm trying to think a little bit because it feels similar to the first group but different. There's something here where even if you're not feeling like you are a super social person, you're not really resonating with, your gifts having to be activated around people. It may be also that when you leave social interactions or when you're in your own space, that's when healing work actually happens, because I feel like for this group you have a very psychic or telepathic connection with a lot of people, and so that's actually what does the healing. I feel like for a lot of you, you almost force others' vibration to rise so that they get in contact with higher beings that then pass the judgment on them. Because we had two cards, the only two cards that I'm feeling drawn to read mention without judgment, and then you have the judgment card there, and your spirit is manifesting here as the Wheel of Fortune, like a destiny bringer. So there's something here about your spiritual gifts.
I feel like for a lot of you, you haven't realized that this is a spiritual gift, but you have the spiritual gift of being able to awaken others' intuitions and allow them to connect with spirit more deeply, because this card here, awaken your inner sense of knowing, this is for what you do for others when you mirror them. And this card being manifestia, and I said these two kind of mirror each other, and then we have mirroring people, blue and orange. It's almost like you bring people who are maybe really stuck in their material world into a sense of questioning the deeper or unseen realms of reality. And this can be something as simple as the emotional realm, where, you know, we can feel it, but we can't always have a tangible understanding of why it's being experienced. And that's why I think we have the healing card here as well. So let's get some final messages about your spiritual gifts, group 2. And these are from the Sacred Geometry Activations Oracle, and you have card 22, Divine Masculine, and 41, Synergy. So interesting that you got the Divine Masculine, and it's still mirroring almost this third eye card. So there's something here about, it's almost like you're a very, I almost want to say like rational spiritual being, or there's a matter of factness about you. You may be somebody that is quite involved with hands-on experiences of your spirituality. So we haven't really touched exactly on like the physical manifestations of your spiritual gifts in your private time. And I'm feeling like what's coming through is like ritual type work, where, you know, I'm seeing like someone who's almost very traditional. They're sitting and they're like reading a sacred text, and they're taking notes, and they're doing like a study of it, the way that maybe like Christians might see as like Bible study. There's this there's just this experience of like being able to have the facts to back up what you're doing. Not to say that that's a masculine trait, but that's just really what I feel is connected to this Divine Masculine card in terms of your own spiritual gifts. You just like to have like historical information. And I'm being drawn back to the King of Songs that is behind here. So it's like you really want, I'm thinking also, like if some of you are creatives, you may be in a creative field that's much more exact. Whereas, you know, like there's a certain amount of engineering that goes into certain creative projects, like making sculptures or technological advances, or even like digital art, things like that. There's like these certain really tangible, practical, rational things that have to do with creative gifts. You may be somebody that's really connected to that side, whereas maybe it's even like marketing your gifts, or you work in marketing for someone else, or something like that. But yeah, in a way, it's like doing that privately does have a collective effect, because even though you're not the one doing the speaking so much, the way you're communicating is having an effect on others because of the processes that you're following, if that makes sense. And it says the frequency of Divine Masculine supports our strong, focused, and active side, allowing it to express itself while helping us to bring our dreams and ideas into form with kindness and wisdom. Yes. And then 41, Synergy, says the frequency of synergy supports our allowance and acceptance of not so obvious, never seen before combinations and unions that result in new ways of functioning, working, thinking, relating, loving, and being. It reminds us to embrace the unfamiliar so that new yet exciting co-creations can give birth to a new reality. And like I said before about the King of Songs being you being very well versed in the emotional realm, in the psychic, the spiritual realms, it's almost like your soul showing up here as the Wheel of Fortune. It's like you come in to bring a wave of change, or a wave of realization, or an expansion of consciousness. For some of you, you may feel connected to Arcturus. That's just something I'm picking up here as well. Just that Arcturian energy, like sacred geometry, mathematics, kind of like reasonable or measured out advances kinds of things, like engineered type advances, but for the consciousness. And so spiritually, you're somebody who can help others to find a level playing field, again with this card too. You're helping others to see into similar realms and to, bring their consciousness to a level playing field. Some of you may be interested in like speech and debate type things where you're trying to argue certain topics, or even politics where you're trying to bring people to have a common ground to find a solution for certain things. And if not, that's where, like even politics, that's where we get brought into the legal system sometimes because there's certain disagreements. So there's something here about the legal system, those engineering type things for you that may, sorry, my throat is really bothered by this. You guys maybe don't speak up enough about your spiritual gifts, or you feel like those things aren't your spiritual gifts, so it's kind of hard for me to bring that through because it seems like you don't always see those parts of yourself as being spiritual, but they very much are. So I hope I could help you in some way today, group 2. I'm sending you so much love, and I am thanking your guides, my guides, and every other force in the universe that brought us together for this reading today. I will see you in another video, my friend. Bye. Hello, group 3. Welcome to your reading on your spiritual gifts. So, as I was tapping into your energy, I feel like your group is the most grounded in your spiritual practices, and therefore you can be the most expansive with them, I guess, out of the 3 groups. Not to compare, but it just feels like there's something where, because your root chakra is nice and comfortable in this life, and you've done a lot of work in terms of clearing, grounding, and centering that area of your energetic consciousness, you just have this unique ability to serve lots of different communities around you, whether this be spirits, animals, plants, you name it, you've got the ability to connect. So that's quite a beautiful gift. And I'm feeling like there's a majority focus on just earth-based connections for this group. So I feel like a lot of you are not necessarily focused on spiritual journeying, astral projecting, that kind of a thing. But you may have this side to you that feels quite cosmic, if that makes sense. So whereas you're not actively seeking information or connections to that, or to those realms, or if you do seek those connections, there's something where you have to return it to earth-based information. And I'm just seeing like a lot of just earth energy in this group in general, so you may have a lot of earth prominent in your astrological chart, or you're conditionally experiencing a lot of I almost said earth generation. So it's, I don't know, there's like maybe like within your generation there's like earthy placements. Maybe you're like Pluto and Virgo or something. I don't know. Let's see. So, or maybe even Pluto and Capricorn. Maybe you're really young, but I hope you're maybe not. I'm not going to encourage that, I guess, because most Pluto and Capricorns are under 18. So, anyway, these cards here are from Tarot of a Moon Garden. They're going to represent the archetype of your spirit and where these spiritual gifts emanate from. It's interesting because I wanted just one card and I shuffled twice, and both times I had 3 cards come out. So 3 might be a really important, prominent number for your group since you did choose group 3. I'm just hearing like 3 is a magic number. So let's see what your spirit is trying to tell you about itself. You have the 9 of Cups, the Lovers, and the 3 of Swords. Interesting energy here, group 3. So immediately I was drawn to the spider web over the moon. It feels like you almost have like parallel selves or something. I feel like for this group, there's like a timelessness about your spirit where like progression doesn't really make sense to you. How do I describe this? Sorry, I'm like being puzzled for a moment. Okay, so I'm gonna share with you, I made a deck called Apocalyptic Theater. This isn't supposed to be a plug, but I guess if you want to check it out, you can. But the Lovers card, or the 6th Arcana in my deck, is not called the Lovers, it's called Bifurcatio, which can also be related to like the mathematical concept of bifurcation, which is the infinite and everlasting possibilities of like the chaotic universe, right? So it's every possible outcome ever. And I feel like your spirit wants to say that you understand like quantum reality on some level, or you understand that like every little choice leads to infinite realities, or can lead to, you know, a million different possibilities, a million different connections. And I feel like as a spirit, you're quite laid back about your own transformation, with this 9 of Cups being paired with the 3 of Swords too. It's like no matter what heartache comes your way, you're always going to search for that heart-centered truth. And your spirit is quite integrated into your body. And I'm actually noticing as I say that, this snake. So some of you may be really into like yoga practice. That may be a way of activating your spiritual gifts more. And specifically, like if you're interested in the Kundalini side, or in snake symbolism as like a healer or like medicine, because for a lot of you I am picking up on just herbalism in general with all of these different plants. I mean, I think that there's a fern in every single picture. Yeah, and like mushrooms on every single one. So yeah, there's just something about like herbal based remedies, using the spirit of planets, or planets, I meant plants, but I guess planets too. But there's something very holistic about your group, and also my cats here, so animals as well. Just using the actual like physical material and what it represents in your practice. So a lot of you may be really into symbolism, decoding symbolic meaning. My cat's having a little cameo in your reading too. But yeah, it's just like decoding like what things mean in their physical form, and how that contributes to your spiritual connection to them. Interesting. So a lot of you, yeah, actually I'm going to move on before I say anything else. So here's more of the tarot. These are from the Bloodmoon tarot, and these are describing more, and again 3, so I guess 3 is your magic number. These are describing more of how you experience your spiritual gifts on a day-to-day. And we have the Death card in the reverse, the Page of Skins in the reverse, and the 8 of Dreams. Sorry, I know my cat's getting quite close to my microphone, so I hope it's not too distracting, but interesting. I just feel like so much distraction, not just because my cat's like interrupting, but it feels like a lot of you may run away from your spiritual gifts, or you're uncomfortable with them, because I feel like for a lot of you, this is like my clairsentience, the ones who like maybe even like feel spirits. If you do try and connect in with like other realms, it just feels a lot safer for you to connect physically with your spiritual gifts. And even as I'm saying that, like I had to kind of like control my ability to wince from the pain, because my cat just started like digging claws in me, like as a loving gesture, because she's trying to sit on me and purr. But yeah, I just feel like you guys are the ones who work with familiars. You're the ones who work with like literal physical pain. Like you guys might be like massage therapists or something. Yeah, the 8 of Dreams. This is showing like mental entrapment, and I also feel like if you did grow up in a religious paradigm, there's something here about those beliefs being where the fear comes from in terms of your spiritual gifts. The Page of Skins in the reverse shows that there is a lot of spiritual gifts that you haven't fully activated yet. Maybe that's why I was picking up on the fact that some of you may be younger. Like, no shade if you're watching this and you're youthful. Like, I'm pretty young too, but it's just like when you're younger, you just literally haven't had as much time and life experience to figure out, like, what the heck you're doing in this lifetime. So, like, you haven't had the, like, tangible, like, years of, you know, study or on the ground experience. Like, it's just, you know, a fact of part of life. And again, we have the mushrooms showing up. So you may feel connected to mushrooms in general, like fungi or like fungal consciousness, and these ideas of spores, and like spores are even beyond seeds, you know, like seeds you have to plant in the ground and nurture, but like spores are like unpredictable aspects of reality. Like, they just kind of like take root. We don't even know, like, as I'm doing this, I'm probably breathing in like colonies of spores I have no idea even exist, you know. Like, there's just something about like this larger fruiting body that you're connected to, and this feels like you're connected to like the ancestors of the earth. Sorry, my cat's probably like screaming in your ears right now. But the Page of Skins does connect to that like snake symbolism as well, and snakes can talk about our ancient cultures, our ancient beliefs, things like that. So a lot of you may be more into folk magic as well. That's maybe where that earth-based connection is coming from. And the Death card too, I definitely feel like if you haven't explored, that may be where the fear is coming from too. And my ear just popped, so that's definitely confirmation. A lot of you are extremely gifted mediums, and mediums not just in the sense of channeling the dead, but channeling information from spirit in general. So even what I'm doing right now is technically mediumship, because I'm bringing through gifts from your spirit guides or from higher dimensions or other dimensions, even if they're not like, you know, higher, whatever, you know, classifications are interesting in terms of high and low. But anyway, I feel like a lot of you are true, like, neutral seekers, because I keep having to justify these things and might be immoral. I don't know. Your group is kind of funny. You're very, like, as much as you have this grounded sense about you, I feel like you're also very, like, philosophical group. It's almost like you're giving, like, I'm just seeing in my third eye, like, this image of, like, Greek philosophers sitting in, like, this, like, you know, outdoor arena where it's, like, not fully removed from the earth-based practices yet, but it's, like, moving towards, like, the imperial era, the industrial movement. And my goodness, my cat has not interrupted for any of the groups and not been vocal either. So there's something here about definitely work with familiars. Like, you're the group that I think is most in need of those constant spiritual supports, because I feel like for you, you don't connect with the spirituality of a lot of other humans that easily, or it doesn't like offer you a lot. But the spirituality of animals, the spirituality of plants, that's really what gets your soul to feel connected, because I feel like you don't fully understand like the human experience, I guess, or like the purpose of it, but you're learning how those realms work, because they lead into higher consciousness processes. It's like you've mastered the consciousness of like these more subconscious beings, because I feel that animals and plants work on an extremely subconscious level because they don't have like brain functioning in the same way that we do. So you're learning how to bring things into a really conscious arena. And that's also why I think that the Death card is here, because this talks about new levels of consciousness, going past what the basic functions of our consciousness are. And so we have these two cards from the Beyond Lemuria Oracle. These are going to describe more of a message straight from your spirit guides about your spiritual gifts. So I'll give you a chance to look at them for a moment. And if you'll notice, we have a very similar color scheme going on in these cards. Purple's kind of like a greeny blue. And I feel an immense opening of the heart chakra. So I feel like a lot of you actually operate out of the heart chakra. So yeah, these cards are communication, co-creation, and the crown chakra, unlimited self. So I'm going to read communication, co-creation, and maybe skim the crown chakra. So the crown chakra is like you can delight in the divine strands of light that dance with us when we are aligned with spirit, purpose, and truth. Yeah, so this is just about like finding your own ways to meditate, your own ways to connect with spirit that aren't like, pre-packaged, pre-programmed. Especially if you're stepping out of religious paradigms, that may be important. But let's read communication, co-creation. We normally think of information as something that can be written or spoken, but if something is multidimensional, it is almost impossible to share it with words. How are you communicating beyond words? Something may be getting lost in translation. An issue may be cleared through improved communication. Listen carefully to what someone has to say without interruption. Furthermore, it may feel scary to share vulnerable truths, but this may be the only way forward. This card also encourages greater exploration in the realms of telepathy, healing, and the arts, such as poetry, painting, and music, where there is collective communication beyond the mind. Beautiful. That is exactly what I was talking about. Especially with like animal guides and things like that. Just expanding your realm of awareness is something that I feel is activating your spiritual gifts in this life. And with your soul coming through with the Nine of Cups, the Lovers, and the Three of Swords, it's like you're learning how to integrate yourself into a group of beings, because I feel like a lot of your past lives, especially if you feel that you had like extraterrestrial lives or even lives on Earth, they feel very removed from collective experiences. So it's almost like you're learning how to become a part of a collective, and you're doing it in ways that feel digestible to you, and that may just be, connecting in with plants, animals. My cat's screaming to confirm. Yeah. So definitely, do things in the way that it lights up your own heart, because that's essentially what the Lovers and the Nine of Cups, especially, even the Three of Swords, they're all about the heart and what we truly desire from our heart space. So definitely, if you haven't, do some kind of heart chakra meditation. I feel like for a lot of you, your spiritual gift is just love based, and learning how to communicate more authentically through an energy of love. No matter what you're doing, whether you're scrying, communicating with spirits, feeling clairsentiently, there's lots of different things that you could be doing, but it definitely all comes from the heart, since I am reading for a collective group. So yeah, let's get a final message. These are from the Sacred Geometry Activation Oracle cards, and these are representing how your gifts manifest. And we have Gaia and the heart chakra. I am actually kind of blown away right now, because what are we getting? Like, what did I say from the beginning of this reading? Earth, and then I started going into the heart later. So there's definitely an experience here of your gifts manifesting through the heart. And it says the frequency of the heart chakra, the green flower of life, supports our capacity to love deeply and unconditionally. Its healing properties harmonize the mind and the body. Interesting. And I'm going to read, this is card 4, and then we have 28, which adds to an 11. Gaia. The frequency of Gaia reminds us that we are infinitely connected to one another, just as we are to our great mother and to the universe that birthed us all. Wherever you are, just know that you can connect to your spirit guides in times of need. They are always with you. Also know that you have guides in infinite ways, just as the mushroom consciousness shows us that there are a million beautiful unseen processes happening behind the scenes. There's also a super intelligent awareness that the earth carries, and so working with the earth and with the elements of the earth, manifestations of the earth, the beings on the earth, the spirit of the earth, is really going to help you to understand and feel connected and know exactly what your timeline should be in this life, because I feel like you're somewhat of like a time traveler or somebody who maybe even travels physically a lot, and you just bring a lot of this earth-based energy wherever you go. So it's really important for you to know exactly where you need to be when you need to be there, and to know that you can awaken these gifts like the Page of Skins shows and move beyond these limitations of the mind. And it's funny that this card here, the heart chakra, says to harmonize the mind and the body. There's something here about like using music or physical vibrations to move beyond the rational mind, because I feel like for a lot of you, you're not the research type unless you're looking for specific like plant information or things that are very primal in nature, but you're more like hands-on as a spirit. You're the one who wants to learn through experience, through being somewhere, through feeling something. It's not like fully intellectual for you, so getting things to move into the conscious sphere for you are going to help you to combat certain emotional experiences that feel like they block your spirit or block your spiritual abilities, because I feel like you're very naturally connected to your spirit and your spiritual gifts, but it's something that was trained out of you for preference of the mind. So I hope that that was helpful for you, group 3. I am so honored to have read for you today. I want to send so much love to you, so much love to your spirit guides, to my spirit guides, to every other force in the universe that brought us together. If you are interested in a personal reading, I have my information in the description below, and I will see you in another reading, my friend. Bye.